Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I think we're going to look at making some more 5-inch stick baits. I was going through my scrap pile. I keep all my scraps in a pull-out drawer system, and I don't go through it super often, but when I do go through it, sometimes it inspires me to try something new. And I was going through it and I found this cup of red. It's not as bright as I would like it to be, so we're going to fix that. We're going to brighten it up a little bit, and we're going to make this into some stick bait tails and shoot some black bodies with red flake over the top, because if you've seen those Senkos that have the red tip and that black body with the red flake, they look really awesome, and I've seen quite a few of them, and I never really took the time to try it. So that's what we're going to do today, and just do a little experiment and see if we like it and see if it's something that we want to keep doing. So let's get that hot and add some red to it and see if we cannot come up with some tails that we like. Okay, here's that red color I got. There's a few bubbles in it, but I'll deal with that here in just a minute. So we're just going to add some bait plastics red to this. Like I said, this is scraps, so I don't really have a recipe for this, but it's something I thought I would be happy to use this with. There is some flake in it too. It's like red and maybe some copper color, but with the red dye in here, the copper just looks red. Okay, that's pretty red there. That's kind of what I wanted for the tips. It just needed a little bit more pigment, I think, to get where I wanted it. So I think that's good enough for tips. So let's go ahead and shoot them. Time for some tips here. Get that mixed up. Make sure we have some flake at the surface. Draw some of this up. It's going to take barely anything for this little bitty tail mold. Okay, our tails are full. I'll probably go ahead and shoot a couple of these just to have some on hand. But while I'm doing that, I'll go ahead and get the black hot. We'll probably do a color build on the black so I can show you exactly what I'm using, because I think you guys can handle coming up with a little bit of red for some tips. And we'll just go from there. Okay, let's go ahead and demold some tips here. These are still going to be a little warm, but I need to go ahead and get on to the next batch here, so I'll make sure not to burn my fingers off. Okay, that is our red tips there. That's what I wanted. They brightened up a little bit from what they were in the cups, so I think we're pretty spot on with what I was going for. Now let's just move on to throwing these in and making some bodies. Okay, while we're waiting for that plastic to get hot, we'll go ahead and slap our tails in the mold here. Pretty easy, don't even need any worm oil. If you watch the other video of me doing the tails with this, then you'll kind of get the gist of what I'm doing here. Just slotting them in here. I do love that you don't have to have worm oil on your hands when you're doing this. A lot of tails you have to have some kind of lubricant, otherwise they're just not going in. But these are very easy to put in. Okay, that's kind of the gist of the tail situation there. Now let's move on and get some of these bodies done. Okay, let's start building this color out. We're going to start with bait plastics black, and this is a 2-cup amount, so if you are using a 1 cup, be sure to cut this in half. 12. Okay, well, we had some extra. That's fine. Let's see what that looks like. I don't think that's going to be dark enough, but it might be. So as far as flake goes, we're going to use 0.015 red. This is the small red flake from Bait Plastics. And I'm just going to sprinkle it in there and cover the top like that. Then we'll drizzle some of this over it and give it a little stir. And let's put some of this bigger flake in it. This is 1/24 red here. So we're going to put some of this in it as well, because it's a lot bigger and will show up a lot better. I think we're going to start with a half a teaspoon. So half a teaspoon of that. And let's drizzle this over the top and stir that in. See what that looks like. See if that's enough red. I'm going to add just a touch more, maybe like a 1/4 teaspoon of this big red. And then we'll just call that good. I want to make sure it shows up, because when you're putting flake in black, it really covers it up sometimes. Okay, I'm satisfied with that. So let's get this back up above that probably 370 mark, and then we'll do some injections. Okay, this is 376, and it's had plenty of time to get the bubbles out of it. So that's where we're gonna start. Now it takes pretty much all of my 4-ounce injector to shoot this 8-cavity stick bait mold, but a 4-ounce will do it. But when you get ready to top off, you might not have enough in here to top off. You may have to use a little bit out of the cup. So just make sure you leave enough in the cup that you can top off, because otherwise you might have problems, because not a lot's going to come out of that. Okay, now that that's done, we'll let these cool off, and then we'll take a look at them over here under the light. Okay, let's demold these while they're still fairly warm. See if I can get the lid off of these. Oh yeah, there we go. And they all actually wanted to stick in that side. That's a rarity. So check that out. That is a pretty good combo. I like that. I've always been the type of guy that does the black and blue flake, but this is pretty good. I can't say that I've done a whole lot of it in this dark. I have a ghost color, which is more of a gray with red flake, but this is kind of different. Nice. I'm kind of surprised at how well that red flake comes through that black, as opaque as it is. But yeah, I'm going to build some more of these, and then we'll take a look at a whole bunch of them on a tray and kind of get a look at them all together. Okay guys, check these out. I made 4 batches. I had enough for another batch, but I was getting a little low on black, so I was going to have to do a remelt. But that was a good stopping point to show you guys how this turned out. And I think they look pretty dang good. Not bad. I was worried about how well that red would show up in the flake, but it turns out just fine. As long as you don't get that black overly dark, I don't think you'll have any issues. And it's a color that I would for sure recommend that you try. Here's a look at it a little more at a distance, so you can see how well that flake really comes through there. I mean, I can stick my arm out there a pretty good ways and you can still see that flake. So it's not like we're having to get right up on it to be able to see it. And yeah, not too bad. There's a last little close-up at what it looks like here on camera, and that way you can decide if it's something you want to make or not. But I'm pretty happy with it. I would say that it is worth a shot, and feel free to copy my black recipe if it's something that interests you. Okay, so there you have it. Just something I kind of wanted to mess with, and I like doing these experimental videos, and it's just something I can share with you guys. Maybe it's a color that you want to make for your lineup or for your own enjoyment. But either way, like I said, feel free to copy any of my recipes. I know I didn't give a recipe for the red, but you can just throw some bait plastics red in a cup and just add and add and add until you get to the red you want. And then if you want flake in it or not, that's completely up to you, but you guys know how to handle all that. I don't have to explain that to you. So if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. It does help the channel out. If you want to pick up either of the 2 molds we used today, I'll leave a link in the description to do that. This is the 5-inch classic stick bait from Epic Bait Molds, as well as the classic stick bait tip mold. That one's a 20 cavity. This one is an 8 cavity. I really recommend you get the 8 cavity because it is nice being able to do 8 at a time versus 4, but it really just depends what you're doing with it. If you're making stick baits for yourself, the 4 cavity is plenty, but if you are making them to sell, it is nice having that bigger cavity count. But if you guys want to stick around, definitely subscribe. We have some cool stuff coming up. I'm working on expanding the stick bait lineup to all these colors. That way we can keep all of them in stock. I did a couple of them tonight, but it's just kind of filling in as I get time, and we'll make it happen one way or another. But I appreciate you guys watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video.